One of the toughest things for to give performance feedback. And it can be nerve wracking to have employees that have been probably in the job longer than you as a leader on the job. And now you're trying to give performance feedback and you don't want them to have a negative attitude towards it. You don't want them to think that you're a micromanager. All of these things, maybe we feel that we're not good enough, we're not capable enough. So let's talk about how to deliver effective feedback. All right, let's talk about how to do that, and we're going to talk specifically about Dr. Peter Jensen's rules for feedback, based on his rules for feedback. And rule number one now is I'm your golf coach, I'm your golf pro, and harder. Okay, or you need to hit the ball farther. All right, how about some specifics on how I'm supposed to hit the ball harder, or how specifically am I supposed to hit the ball further, right? Do I need to readjust my grip? Do I need to adjust my stance? Do I need to adjust my swing, the follow through on the swing, the downswing, the upswing? What is it? Is it the shift in my weight? What is it that I have to change specifically? So if we're thinking about performance feedback, we've got to be very specific. Forget the generalities, because generalities don't work. You can't fix a general thing unless you want me to go hire the pro to teach me how to do this. Well, that's your job. You're the coach. Your job is to teach and train, right? So be very specific, not general. Number two, describe the behavior versus evaluating them as an individual, right? So we want to share with them what we witnessed, what we saw, what we felt, what we heard, right? So we want to make sure that it's a fact-based way. We want to describe exactly to them what we saw in their behavior, right? So we're not accusing them. What we're doing is talking about behavior. Two very different things, right? Because the third one is we focus on behavior and not the person. So if I am constantly calling them out, well, you did this and you did that. Well, man, that's very accusatory, right? So I'm going to immediately jump back and go, no, who do you think you're talking to? I'm not listening to you, you rude son of a gun, right? No. We are going to observe the behavior and we're going to address behavior. Again, it's not about you, it's about the behavior. And it's not about them, it's about the behavior. And now, once we have done this with behavior, now remember, it's us. It's you and me against the world. We're together trying to solve the problem. Okay. So we want to help them feel like they can improve their actions through a new process or a new behavior, right? And it's us together coming up with a solution together to make it work. This becomes very, very important. Now, we also want to maintain the relationship. Number four, maintain the relationship. And David, how in the world do we maintain the relationship? Again, we're going to ask a lot of questions, which allows them to come up with their own responses, allows them to come up with their own answers, how they're going to deal with the issue, how they're going to deal with the situation. And once they have started talking about it, now we can share our wisdom as well, right? Now we have an opportunity to share, but we want them to come to the conclusion on their own without us bringing down the hammer, right? Because nothing ever works well when they own the solution and they'll run with it. But if we came up with it and we told people, get very defensive. They don't together, and we're going to create something that works together. All right. Now, how do we do this? Well, number one, we've got to ask more questions. Back to Stephen R. Covey, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So if we understand what caused the behavior, if we understand what their thought process was behind it, if we understand a little bit more where they were coming from, maybe they just had a bad day. Something happened at home, which they've been thinking about, so they came very curt or short at work, and they didn't mean to. It's just that they were dealing with all of this. But if we're not asking questions, how do we ever know, right? So the rule of thumb is that we want to ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and draw out of them, not in an accusatory way, and we're not asking questions, we're playing 20 questions, but drawing out of them more information. Oh, tell me more about that. Oh, wow, you felt that way. Tell me, what was it about that that made you feel that way, right? Becomes very, very important. Now, what about a simple what question versus a why question? Well, why did you do that? I don't know. What was it about the situation that caused you to do that? Two very different questions, right? So again, let's go back full circle. Number one, we want to make sure that we are very specific and not general. We give very specific direction and we are not using generalities. Number two, describe versus evaluate. We are describing the situation, we are not evaluating them as an individual. Number three, we're focused on behavior, not the person. We're focused on the actual behavior of what we saw, what we heard, what we felt, okay, as opposed to focusing on you're just a bad person. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Right? We don't want to go there. And then number four was maintain the relationship. And what this means is that we don't just come off and just offload all of our vast years of wisdom on them, and because they don't hear most of that anyway. What they hear is what they help create. Remember, people buy into what they help create, and the more they help create it, the more they buy into it, and the more they will make sure that it happens, right? So we want to create aha moments for them, as many aha moments for them as we possibly can during the interaction. I really hope that this has been helpful for you in providing the feedback, and how to deliver really matters. Tone really matters. When it comes to delivering effective feedback, just remember, we want to draw from them the answers.